I made 5,000 on this trade. It only took me 10 minutes to find it with my very boring but working analysis. In this video, I will show you why you don't need expensive indicators, why you don't need to sit behind monitors all day, and why you don't need to complicate your strategy to finally make trading your reliable source of profit. Trading is not about emotions. It's actually boring, but very profitable when you have a detailed step-by-step checklist. Over the past 3 years that I've been trading this strategy, I've owned every point to perfection, and you should try it. Let me immediately sketch you today's outline of our typical trade. You will be able to find these trades yourself on the chart after watching this video. First of all, my friends, we will add an indicator that will automatically show us the zones of interest. For example, from the resistance zone we will sell, and from the support zone we will buy. And this will be plotted by the automatic indicator, so you won't even have to worry about doing something wrong. Let me also schematically draw what the uptrend looks like. From the lower boundary, we have a trend that consists of several waves of rising and several waves of falling. It can be a very fast trend. It can also be a measured, gradual, smoothly rising trend. Our next task will be to identify weaknesses in our trend movement. We will look for these weaknesses in the area of the key zones of interest, which we identified in the first paragraph. Let's say that we are going to look for the crossing of the moving average lines. It will look like this, when a faster line will cross a slower one, and this will be a kind of signal that will signal us to a correction is possible here. Instead of moving averages, we can also have a trend line as a signal. We will look for them on the chart, determine the moment of breakdown, retest, and we will also open trades on the upside. I will show you where to correctly put stop loss and where to place take profit, which exactly the price will reach. Let's move on to the first point of our checklist. This is the definition of key zones of interest. We necessarily start with the older time frame. In this case, it is 4 hours on the TradingView platform. In situations when it is difficult to determine the horizontal levels on our own, we can use such an indicator called Imbalance Zone. From the author Frozen, it has 1,600 users. Just by a simple click, we add this automatic indicator, and we immediately have very unobvious areas of interest. Let's take a special rectangle and select these areas of interest again. So here we have the first zone of interest, which is at the bottom, and I think I have marked the second zone of interest, which is at the top. As we can see, the price received reaction from both sides, I mean from bottom and top, and both buyers and sellers, so we can generally count of these zones. If in addition to the imbalance zones you see some obvious levels, let's say a level like this one, you can also mark them manually. After that, I can turn off the indicator and switch to a younger time frame, or let's say 1 hour. Now I suggest you to look and scroll through the chart until it starts interacting with either of the upper or lower zones of interest. Look, we get a reaction and a clear interaction with the support zone. I suggest we add the next 2 indicators to help us identify trend weaknesses to enter this trade. This is the next item on our checklist, and now we will add 2 automatic indicators with moving average lines. So the first indicator is called MA cross. This is a standard TradingView indicator. You can add it with a simple click and set the following settings. Here we set the period equals 10, and here we set the period equals 25. In this style we can make a slow line that is green color, more bold, so we could be better oriented. This indicator is suitable for all the time frames, such as 4 hours and 1 hour. We should see at least the chart over the green line, I mean over the slow moving average line, and the crossing of these 2 lines as maximum. So let's see how the price movement will develop further. As we can see, we have a double, maybe even a triple top, and here we have the first signs of the trend weakening. As we can see, the price finally goes beyond these green lines, and we almost have a crossover. The next step is to add the second indicator, which is called moving average cross. But this time this indicator is from the ChartArt author, and it has almost 16,000 users. You add it, disable the old indicator and switch to a younger time frame. Already on my working time frame it is 15 minutes. Let me explain why you need these two indicators. The thing is that the older time frames such as 4 hours and 1 hour, in order to see the global weaknesses of the trend, we use the older time frame and the moving average line with a small period of 10 and 25. In this situation, when we are preparing to enter trade, we should switch to a younger time frame, for example 15 minutes, and here we need a moving average indicator with longer periods such as 50 and 100. Our signal will still be the price fixation above the two moving average, as in this case, or the crossing of the moving averages. In this case, I already concluded that we can open a trade on the upside, and to do this we once again turn on the imbalance zone indicator, which can be easily hidden here, and pull our take profit to the nearest zone on the 15-minute time frame. That is, when we set take profit and stop loss, we are oriented on the key zones of interest on the lower local time frames. We get a trade with a good ratio. It will be a really reliable, confident trade because we can still draw an additional trend line and see that we already have a breakdown and retest of this trend line. So let's turn off this indicator and see how the trade will develop. I made 5,000 on this trade. It only took me 10 minutes to find it with my very boring but working analysis. So our trade worked out. We are back on our working senior time frame. It is 4 hours. We realize perfect well that we still have actual zones of interest, and we are also waiting for the chart to start interacting with them on the senior time frame. So we can see that on the senior time frame the chart is starting to interact with our resistance zone, which we had previously marked with the imbalance zone indicator. We are back with you to the first point of the checklist, I mean the identification of key zones of interest. We must find what can become a trigger for our trade, and the trigger is the crossing or overcoming of the moving average lines. At this point we can observe on the hourly time frame the weaknesses of this uptrend, because we have a breakout and consolidation of under this green moving average line. At this point I suggest to disable this indicator again, switch to a lower time frame and enable the second indicator. So as you can see, at the moment we also under two moving averages with a longer period. This means that it is time to move on the last point of our checklist, namely the formation of trading plan for this trade. So we turn on the imbalance zone indicator again in order to determine an adequate target for our trade. We get a very good risk-reward ratio, so I can take the stop even a little bit higher to make my trade safer. With this trade, if I am not mistaken, I made more than 6,000, and it also took me less than 10 minutes to find and execute a successful entry into this position. The price successfully reached my take profit. With the result, I also congratulated my subscribers in my Signal Telegram channel, because on this trade we took as much as 612 pips of net movement with one take. That made me 6,120. Guys, we just dismantled two real trades on my real example, which I made on this strategy, and believe me, this is absolutely nothing complicated in them. All you need to do succeed is to practice more. Subscribe to my Telegram channel so that you don't lose me, and don't miss new videos about successful forex trade. Thank you for watching. See you soon.